Hey, everybody, welcome to this month's LinkedIn Live. Can you believe it? This is the 12th LinkedIn Live of 2023 for us. And I just want to take a minute and congratulate myself. 12 in a row. Way to go, John. You set a goal, you achieved it. Taking time to congratulate ourselves and recognizing our wins is super important for high achievers like me and like you. So don't hesitate to do that. Today, we're going to just kind of wrap up the year and talk about strategies for hiring the right coach. I'm going to kind of take you through some questions you ought to ask, some things that may get in your way, and hopefully by the end of our time together today, our 25 minutes, you'll get to a place where you're set up to go out into the world and explore hiring a coach for you as 2024 comes around. So let's go ahead and share the screen as we always do. I'm going to make myself small. There we go. 13 strategies for hiring the right coach. So today, as always, here's what we'll cover. 25 minutes, 11 slides. We're going to talk about why everyone really needs a coach. And it's not just me who says that. We're going to talk about 3 common fears which prevent outstanding attorneys or really any high achievers from hiring a coach. And then I'm going to give you some nuts and bolts today, some tactics, some questions to ask as far as strategies for hiring the right coach for you. Hiring the right coach for you is, of course, the most important thing when you're going to hire a coach. So we're going to dive into that. You are in the right place if you're a small law firm owner, a solo, or a really small shop. You're a partner in a mid-sized law firm. So the ABA defines mid-size as anything above 9 attorneys. If you're a partner in that mid-sized law firm, then you're in the right place. If you're a partner or owner in a small law firm, so 9 attorneys or fewer, or a true solo, you're in the right place. You're in the right place if you're an outstanding attorney who struggles with communication, client creation, growing your own law firm, charting a direction, vision, and you've been thinking about hiring a coach and you're just not quite sure how to get started and you've got some fear around it. Or you're a lawyer who's tired of being on the hamster wheel. You're tired of being on the hamster wheel, the day in, day out, head down, working all the time, never feeling fulfilled, not feeling truly satisfied, knowing that there's something else out there. This is the place for you, right? There are no excuses. Let's get you some results. A little bit about me. As you all know, I'm John R. Kormanik. I am the CEO and head coach at John R. Kormanik Coaching. I am a lawyer who coaches lawyers. I practiced law for 24 years. I owned, managed, and operated a law firm for 16, a small law firm. I am a professional certified coach by the International Coaching Federation. I've been trained in several different areas. One is core leadership and performance dynamics by the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. And I've also been trained in the neuroscience of flow with the Flow Research Collective and Stephen Kotler. Flow is what athletes call being in the zone. You can bring that experience into your work, become 5 times more productive, increase your work product, increase work-life balance, client satisfaction, all those things by adopting a flow formula for yourself. And so I'm trained in how to do that. This is me on a stage presenting to about 350 leaders from across the country about communication and team dynamics. Everyone needs a coach. That's not me, that's Bill Gates. Why do you think Bill Gates says that? Everyone needs a coach. Let's dive in a little bit. Here's what Bill Gates is talking about. Coaches empower people in these areas. Personal skill development. I mentioned I was on a stage talking about communication, right? Communication, is called a soft skill. I think that's nonsense. I think communication is a foundational skill. It's a core skill. It's how you get people to do the things that you want them to do in the most effective and efficient way possible. Personal skill development. With a coach, and I help people do that. All coaches ought to help people do that in one way, shape, or form. A coach provides objective feedback, right? Oftentimes we are in our own heads thinking, well, this isn't working, or I showed up this way. A coach is able to provide you objective feedback. It's outside of your own head. It is something that is divorced from the feelings that we all have as individuals. So coaches provide objective feedback. We we're a place for stress management and life work balance. Yes, life work balance. The whole work life balance has the first thing wrong. Our life is the most important thing, and then balancing our life with our work. Words matter. I learned as a lawyer. I learned that at my first job at the Idaho Court of Appeals. Words matter. And so life work balance. That's what I talk about. And that's what coaches work with their clients on. Achieving peak or optimal performance. There are peak performance coaches out there in the world, whether they are in the sports area, whether they are in the C-suite, in Fortune 100 companies, or in law firms. They talk about optimal or peak performance. And then coaches provide accountability and motivation. Now, a word about accountability, because I believe accountability is an internal mechanism. It is not an external thing. And here's what I mean by that. I coach high performing lawyers all over the world. I cannot put them in timeout. I cannot take away their birthday. There's no real consequence that I can impose on them for not doing the thing that they said they were going to do. Right. When I end each session, my client has an action step or steps to take. They create those action steps themselves based on something that they've learned during our time together in our coaching session. And then if they don't do it, what can I do about it? I can't do anything to them. They're grown people. And so accountability is an internal thing. And having someone that you're accountable for or with is also part of the accountability equation. That's why the most successful fitness programs, for example, include buddying up. That's why I am in a weekly accountability meeting with a peer who's in a different field, because knowing that accountability meeting's coming up provides some focus and some insight and some motivation, quite frankly. So, the benefits of having a coach: personal skill development, you get objective feedback, it helps with stress management and life work balance, it helps you achieve optimal performance, and it's a mechanism for accountability and motivation. A coach is someone who tells you what you don't want to hear, who has you see what you don't want to or can't see, so that you can be who you have always known you could be. That's it. That's what a coach is all about. That's the famous Dallas Cowboy coach, Tom Landry. That is what coaching is in a nutshell. I could not have said it better myself. That's why I didn't. That's what a coach is. Here are some common fears that folks have when I talk to them about coaching. Let's kind of touch on these for a minute and spend a little time here. The first fear: dude, I am so busy right now. I don't have the time to step back and invest, 45 minutes to an hour with you every other week. I don't have that kind of time. Let me share a story of a recent client. When she first began coaching with me, she is in-house at a tech-ish company. And when she first started coaching with me, that was her biggest fear. I don't have the time for this. I'm in a fast-paced environment. I've got all these balls to juggle. I'm leading a team. I've got to lead up and report up and plus do the legal work, all the things, right? I just don't have the time. During our last session, we were celebrating her wins, and I asked her what her greatest what one of the things that was her greatest learning moment during our coaching relationship. And she shared with me, remember back when I said I was really afraid because I didn't have the time? You helped me get to a place where I now save so much time because of the things that we worked on that I have all this extra time now. So when I asked her, I said, "What did that mean for her, right? What did that mean?" She said, "Well, it's priceless. It's priceless. From the I'm no longer spinning in my head worrying about a difficult conversation or this argument that I'm going to have in court, and I can truly focus and be present, to learning how to prioritize better based on not the noise around me, but what I understand are the important and urgent things." Priceless. I don't have the budget. According to some studies, the ROI on coaching is over 700%. So if you could 7x or even 10x your investment, of course the budget's there. It's a question of prioritization. What will I invest my money on, right? Thinking about coaching as an investment where you expect an ROI because you ought to expect an ROI from coaching. It's not just a conversation that we're having. You're not paying a coach just to have somebody to talk to. It's not therapy. Coaching is a goal driven practice. And so you ought to have an ROI. What are your goals? How close are you getting? What's getting in the way? What's the ROI? The final fear is I won't do the work. Coaching is hard. At least my kind of coaching gets people to dive deep. We move past the surface level stuff. We do some really deep things with people having aha moments. I'll give you an example. I was talking with a client about client creation, right? They wanted to grow their pipeline so that they stopped waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking, oh my goodness, where's my next client coming from? Oh my goodness, right? Where's that coming from? And so some of the work that we did was their mindset around sales and why they had their mindset around sales. They described their mindset as icky, right? As fear of being, that salesperson, right? We have all had them, whether it's on a on an automobile parking lot, right? A car dealership. That's the word I'm looking for. A dealership's parking lot or a cold call on the phone. Thank goodness we have do not call lists now. But we've all had that icky feeling, right? That salesy feeling. And they had this mindset around coaching. Well, we worked on that. And that work was hard because they dove really down deep inside themselves to try to figure it out. And so if you fear not doing the work, A, you're a high performing lawyer. I know that you can do the work. We all know this. B, it's going to get uncomfortable for you. And it ought to, right? It ought to be uncomfortable for you because that's where growth happens. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. Growth happens just outside of your comfort zone. What I like to call the Goldilocks zone of where the challenge is about 4 to 5% above your current skill set, that's where growth occurs, and it's going to be uncomfortable. So those are three common fears, and they wind up keeping you in a box and playing small. So let's now, in our last 10 minutes or so, dive into the strategies for hiring a right coach. Here are the questions that you ought to ask. Number one, you have to confirm that there is evidence of a clear process. I mentioned before, coaching is not simply a conversation. What is your coach's process? Now, I provide bespoke coaching packages, which mean that they are tailored to my individual clients. And I also have a clear process. We move through the RISE coaching framework, RISE, roots, inventory, strategy, evolution. That's my framework. That's my process. But each engagement is different because the goals of the client is different. You have to confirm that there's a clear process, that the person that you're going with has a clear process. Number two is determine values and goal alignment, right? If someone goes to a marketing coach for help with personal development, they're going to get some personal development with a marketing coach. I'm certain of it, right? But you have to really kind of make sure that the coach you're going to is known for and has a process and can move you forward on your goals. It's not the coach's goals. That's the difference between kind of a one size fits all and a bespoke or custom package, right? Custom coaching. It is value and goal alignment. Number three, I really don't have to say this for you lawyers out there, but I'm going to say it anyway. Conduct your due diligence, right? Part of me says this is kind of it's kind of nonsense in a way. And here's what I mean by that. I often have the potential clients say, "Hey, do you have some references?" Of course I have references. The question that I ask these potential clients is, "Do you think that I would send you to talk to a person who would give me a bad review?" Of course not, right? Of course not. We don't do that. You wouldn't do that if a potential client for you asked you for a reference, right? You wouldn't send them to somebody who was allegedly dissatisfied. You'd send them to somebody who was super satisfied. So the due diligence part is not necessarily talking with other current or former clients. The due diligence part is, hey, hop onto their website, look at their LinkedIn presence. What are they posting? Does it align with you? Does it resonate with you? Those types of things. I think that's more important due diligence than speaking with clients or former clients of a potential coach that you're looking at. Seek out reviews. That's what I kind of talked about, right? If you're on, Google reviews, LinkedIn reviews, whatever it is, see how they do, and also know that reviews. I'll tell you, when I go on to Yelp for restaurants when I'm out of town, which I often am, as you all know, I take the reviews with a grain of salt. So don't pin everything on reviews. This is just kind of one of the things, one of the 13. Assess their expertise. You may hear that coaching has a low bar to entry. That is true. As a certified professional coach, I will say that is true to an extent. If you are a certified professional coach, the bar to entry is it's not low. It's not easy. If you've seen me over the year or seen anything from me around the June timeframe, I became a professional certified coach, a PCC from the International Coaching Federation. And that PCC examination was as difficult as the Idaho State Bar examination and the California State Bar examination. It was intense. I'm also certified in core dynamics, as I said, which is a special way of doing things that helps and empowers my clients to move forward. But you need to assess your potential coach's expertise in any way that you can. Are they available? Is their schedule packed? Are they going to be able to fit you in? Do they have a waiting list? These are all questions that you ought to ask. If you have a pebble in your shoe that you want coaching on right now, does it make sense to engage with a coach who doesn't have the bandwidth to adequately serve you? I believe coaches ought to limit the number of clients that they have. That's what I believe. I limit the number of clients that I have so that I can provide outstanding service to all of them. It's not just the 45 or 60 minutes that we're on the call together. There's a lot that goes in behind the scenes in coaching that ought to go in behind the scenes. So determine your potential coach's availability. Here is some more. Are they curious? A consultant, here's a difference between coaching and consultancy. And I do both. I'm a coach-sultant, but here's the difference between the two. A consultant will tell you how to do things. This is the process. This is how you do it. Great. A coach is curious. And the importance of curiosity is discovering really what's getting in the way, right? I'll give you an example. I was on a call with a client not too long ago, and they wanted to expand. Their goal is to expand their practice into different geographical areas. And as we were talking, I was curious, what's getting in the way? What's stopping you? And I kind of kept on asking that because the first answers were really surface level stuff, right? It's logistics, it's tactics, it's knowing people in the market, it's that stuff. Well, okay, but you're a successful law firm owner. That stuff is figure outable. What's going on here? So we dove down. I was curious, and we got to the real thing that was getting in the way. That's the magic of coaching. Observe the potential coach's curiosity. Prioritize mutual chemistry. This is a coaching relationship is one of the most important relationships you'll have in your whole life. I firmly believe that. And if the chemistry is not there, walk away. And the potential coach should walk away too. They should recognize that the chemistry isn't there and say, we're not going to work together because we're not a good fit. You're empowered to do that. Commit to a discovery and action plan. How are we going to figure out what it is that you want to work on, and how are we going to execute? The framework really helps. My method, my process. If a coach has that, it should include that discovery and action plan step. Ask for proven results. There are case studies, case reviews, things like that. All coaches have them. Ask for that. Again, weighing with a grain of salt, because you're not going to get things that didn't work out, right? So always a grain of salt with reviews. Consider someone with a different perspective than you. If you're coached by someone who's exactly like you, the doors that they can open for you may not be as readily apparent to them because they have the same perspective as you. You want someone who has a different perspective so that they can challenge how you view the world. That's the power of coaching. Evaluate their ability to guide you, right? Coaching is the coach sitting in the passenger seat. You are in the driver's seat. How do they guide you to your destination? And finally, follow your gut. Your gut tells you something. Your gut tells you something is a good fit or someone is a good fit or not. Don't discard that. There's a science behind the brain, heart, gut connection. Embrace that. We're coming in for a landing. I know today was fast and furious. There's a lot of stuff there. This video is going to be on not only on LinkedIn, but it'll be on my YouTube channel. I'm probably going to post it on my website as well because I think it's pretty important. So if you want to learn more about how coaching with me can empower you to reach your full potential as a lawyer, entrepreneur, and a person, contact me. Send me a message here on LinkedIn. Go to my website, johnorkormanik.com, and book a 30-minute discovery session. We can discuss, and I'll ask you just 4 questions during that discovery session, and you can figure out whether or not you think we're a good fit. And then we can start the process. Or you can just kind of explore coaching and start, right? We're coming up on the new year. I will say now is the time for you to start. If you have a coach by your side in 2024, the whole world will change for you, and your goals and your aspirations will not only be possible, they'll be inevitable. Thank you so much. And hey, I'll see you next year. I'm gonna run this back. My goal for 2024 is 12 LinkedIn Lives, one each month, the first Wednesday. So come on back next year. Take care. Be well.